Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, July 15th, 2016.
Commissioner Davis, Rodriguez, James, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
David Rivera, Street Services.
Good morning, Barry Berggren, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Udi Jimenez, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Russ Drizella, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we received speaker cards under general public comment. We do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council item, and we did also receive speaker cards on items 1 through 6.
Okay, let's go ahead and close the comment period under the Neighborhood Council category. And our first item of business, the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Monday, June 20th, 2016. Is there a second to my motion that we approve those meeting minutes by Commissioner Rodriguez? Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. We have a commendatory resolution and presentation this morning for the Street Median Design Team Recognition. Commissioner Davis. Yes, sir. Or whatever you'd like, sir. Okay. Well, Commissioner Davis is going to move to the podium.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It is an honor and privilege for me to present team. As you know, we are interested in the Department of Public Works to make sure that we appreciate those individuals in our department who are doing outstanding public service. And the Public Works Task Force for Employee Achievement and Morale recognizes the following employees for outstanding team for exceptional performance in the development of the median design competition. The August 2014 Los Angeles City Council created an Innovation and Productivity Fund whose purpose is intended to create a culture of continuous improvement in the city through innovation, productivity, and performance measure. Everyone working in the city was invited to submit ideas. Commissioner Rodriguez, our colleague, submitted a proposal called the Median Design Competition. The concept was created as a competition and process where landscape architecture students from local universities and colleges could design large and small-scale traffic medians in an effort to improve neighborhoods, improve current median designs, and improve drought awareness. In May of 2015, the Innovation and Performance Commission awarded the Board of Public Works a grant to fund this median design competition on a pilot basis. The Median Design Award team met regularly, and they brainstormed on ideas and criteria which resulted in an establishment of rules and requirements to award $2,500 grants to 2 competition winners. The Median Design Award team consisted of employees from the Bureau of Street Services, Engineering, Sanitation, Contract Administration, Office of Community Beautification, and the Board of Public Works. The request for design proposal was released in October of 2015, and the first award was announced at the March 30th, 2016 Board of Public Works meeting. Today, we recognize this outstanding team for their ability to work cohesively and professionally, I might add, on a project that benefits college students and all of the neighborhoods that have been selected in the city of Los Angeles. So with that, I'd first like to recognize Jerry Valito. Is Jerry here? Also, Deborah Dietz. Thank you so much, Deborah. You can stand up here with us, Deborah, if you'd like. Alice Gong. Is Alice here? She's not here today. Also, Ted Allen. All right, good. Jane Adrian. Gregory Anu. Nuno. Oh, this is an N. Oh, he's sick. Okay, we'll hold. Okay. Robert Gutierrez. He's not here either. Lance Oishi. Thank you for that help. Brett McReynolds. Paul Rotz. Fernando Campos. Thank you for your service, sir. Thank you. And last and certainly not least, our esteemed Vice President of the Board of Public Works. And we often evaluate policy, but I think it's also equally important for us as administrators in the Department of Public Works to help execute programs that will help us become more effective and efficient. And to that end, it is an honor for me to present our Vice President, Monica Rodriguez, who took the leadership in trying to implement this program. And I can truly say that as a result of this, that our mediums, our neighborhoods, and our communities look much better, and we want to continue to inspire individuals to be motivated to continue to do this kind of work in our neighborhoods. And we thank you so much. Monica Rodriguez. Thank you. You want to say something about the project?
Of course. Colleagues, this is, well, I would say this is the equivalent to the Academy Awards, right? Being honored by your colleagues for your work. But I really want to thank the team associated with this and helping to implement something that is really, truly going to be a useful tool for a number of our communities. This emanated from the very clear fact that as a result of the drought and as a result of us having to shut off our water systems to a number of our medians, that we had a number of medians that were in disrepair and needing some TLC. And creating some efficiencies in our process and creating some engaging a student community in Los Angeles that could be part of providing these solutions, I think was really the trifecta of all the things that we can do in city government to engage communities to really be effective problem solvers. And I want to thank the problem solvers here at City Hall because, you know, change is really hard. And when people talk about how government moves sometimes, they don't have the benefit of working with some of the individuals that I have the benefit of working with. And I think some of that is because I keep the fire lit too. But it really is a privilege to work with professionals in city government that understand that we have an obligation here to work efficiently for our own benefit as well, not just for maximizing the use of taxpayer resources, but more importantly about making sure that we are as responsive as we can be and as engaging as we can be with our communities. And I want to really thank the members of this team for being so consistent, so diligent, offering their best ideas to help really create more efficiencies in our process so that we can avail more solutions for our communities to be partners with us and helping to create the kind of Los Angeles that we can all be very proud of. So I want to thank you all very much. I want to thank my colleagues, and I especially want to thank the members of the Innovation Fund that understood very clearly when, you know, I kind of proposed this wacky idea of how we could perhaps create some solutions in this area, that they saw the need for it, and a number of folks around the table equally identified that this was very much a problem, that these eyesores are solutions that, or we could provide solutions to a number of the eyesores that communities had. And so I just want to thank you all very much for your support, and thank you so much to my colleagues for the recognition.
Mr. President, I just want to also thank Diana Williams of our staff who helped to coordinate this recognition, and just conclude by saying this kind of collaboration is an example of the leadership that Public Works takes as the heart and soul of the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. And Commissioner Rodriguez, I was just going to add, which you covered at the end of your talk, a thank you to the Innovation Fund and the folks that work on that. We like to get as much of their money in Public Works as possible. So this was certainly welcome, a welcome determination by their fine committee as well. Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you, President James. Commissioner Davis, thank you for the presentation. Vice President Rodriguez, thank you for your leadership. Just being out there, just never stopping, just being fearless. To assemble this all-star cast, man, that's quite a cast to wrangle, if you will. But it shows, we're fulfilling the mayor's vision of intra-departmental and interdepartmental collaboration, and that's the edge that and the fire that we always need to have to do innovative, outside of the box, outside of the paper, outside of the department work. So I commend all of you, thank all of you for really joining efforts to, whether it's street medians or another thing, we set the tone of things that we can do. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Penning?
Sure. I just want to thank our Vice President and everyone who's worked so hard on this really innovative project. I have the good fortune of getting to work with a few of you as part of our Green Streets Committee, and I know that the ideas and the passion that you have for this type of work. So we look forward to having our medians transform throughout the city, and I just want to thank you all for your hard work. Congratulations.
Thank you. We'll take a break.
Let me actually I wanted to point out one of the benefits of this is that our process for the Adopt a Median program previously took on average of about a 6 to 9 month approval process, and as a result of implementing this streamlined process, we're now looking at a period of 30 to 45 days from starting and selecting your choices and implementation to get your permit. So it's a much more expedited process, and I want to thank especially Ted Allen for helping us identify the most efficient way of getting there. And I think it's, again, another way that we're demonstrating how we're doing business a little bit different here in Los Angeles.
Ted Allen's name again? Well, I think we're going to hear something about this in agenda item number 4, perhaps, as well. So thank you, everyone. I think we take a break for a moment for a photograph, and then we'll get back on our agenda. Going back on our agenda, let's take a... Oh, okay. Thank you, Ted. On 3? Okay. Okay, well then we'll go ahead and do that. Is the sound system back on? We are. Going back on, to our agenda, let's go ahead and take agenda item number 3. Recommendation that first we approve amendment number 1 to agreement number WR 98-1003 between the City of Los Angeles, the Department of Water and Power, and the Department of Public Works for the use of recycled water services, subject to the mayor and city attorney's approval as to form and legality. Number 2, forward the report and its transmittals to the office of the mayor, requesting authority to execute the proposed amendment number 1 to the agreement, the number WR 98-1003, as a measure to continue to conserve potable water supplies by utilizing recycled water supplies. And number 3, authorize the board president or 2 commissioners to sign and the board secretary to attest the proposed amendment number 1 to agreement number WR 98-1003, subject to the mayor and the city attorney approval as to form and legality. And Mr. Spindler, you have a card on number 3. It says Mr. Ticket. I'm assuming that's Mr. Spindler.
Yes, it's Mr. Ticket, which I'll discuss at public comment. Your Bureau of Street Services is writing street sweeping tickets again and not reporting the truck not coming. You got to stop this perjury and lying, man. It's getting out of hand. And now we get this. You want to give the board president or 2 out of 5 commissioners the right to sign multi-million-dollar agreements. You have a commission of 5, a quorum of 3. Why can't you do it right? Millions of dollars, and you can't get 3 people to agree. You have to sidestep the charter and give the commission president himself, or only 2 out of 5 commissioners, signature authority over tens of millions of dollars of spending in our city. And this is what we pay a full-time board for? That's illegal. City attorney knows that's illegal. That's a fraud on the charter. I don't understand this. Why do you keep doing what you do? Why can't you follow the city charter? Why does your city attorney forge signatures on restraining orders and documents? Why do they keep going to court and perjuring themselves? And why do they keep trying to violate the charter like this? And nobody pays attention. Nobody's doing nothing. How come you can't get 3 people to agree on this? There's 5 people today. 3 is a majority, 3 is a quorum. Why does it have to be less than a quorum? Why? Because Garcetti doesn't give a shit about the charter. This is a dictatorship. That's why they're outside right now. It looks like the middle of Bogota out there with all those police. The city's burning down with corruption.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. City Attorney, any issue, charter issue regarding providing the board president or 2 commissioners the authority to sign a contract once the Board of Public Works votes to enter into the contract?
No, indeed, it's actually a requirement for contracts that they be executed by either the president or 2 commissioners. So we're doing nothing more than following the requirements that apply to this commission.
That's the standard way we've been doing it for as many years, at least, as you've been around here. Would that be correct?
Yes, again, it's actually required by the code.
Yes, thank you. Christine Peters on agenda item number 3. So we don't have any confusion. Good morning, Ms. Peters.
Good morning, Commissioners, Commission President James, City staff. Thank you so much for hearing this item today. For Council District 13, for Councilmember O'Farrell. We've been working on this item for 2 years, This is a great step forward for the city of LA. It's great that we're out there and we're planting trees, we're planting medians, we're doing all these things. But as we've spoken about before, we're in a drought. That's not going to change anytime soon. And so it seems to be a shame that all of these years that we've been watering our street trees and our city plants with potable water. And so when we started implementing a number of streetscape projects in our district, 2014, we planted over 250 trees. And responsibly, we contracted with one of our nonprofit organizations in the area, Central City Action Committee, that has a contract with the Office of Beautification. And diligently, they're out there watering those trees for us, but they are using drinking water. And that was really a struggle for us to figure out how do we do this. And so we started meeting with DWP, and they're like, well, we have these new stations. They're at all of your city yards, and you can actually use the gray water, but there's some technicalities, and you have to have a fancy hookup and da-da-da-da-da, and there's a contract. And so we diligently engaged in this for a while to the point where I hit the ceiling of my capacity, and so I had to reach out to your board, in particular Commissioner Repenning, who graciously assisted us in finalizing the nitty-gritty parts of the contract so that we could actually be here today and adopt this contract so we can now send it to the Department of Water and Power for their finessing, and then hopefully before the end of the year, we'll be out there watering trees with gray water and recycled water and be able to have a ribbon cutting on that process and show the rest of the city family and other districts in the city that not only should we be planting trees, but we should be doing it responsibly and advocating that all of our NGOs, our nonprofit partners in the city, are doing the same thing. And it's really not a difficult process. They just simply have to retrofit their trucks to have this purple pipe fitting put on it, and they can start going to the city yards and filling up, and the cost is incredibly low, much cheaper than drinking water. So thank you so much for your consideration. We really look forward to engaging in this with the board and with all the city departments, with Public Works, and thank you. And again, Heather, thank you so much for helping us get to the final step here.
Thank you, Ms. Peters. Mr. Campos on number 3.
Good morning, Board President and Commissioners. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, as mentioned by one of our public speakers from Council District. This has definitely been a collaborative effort led by Commissioner Repenning over the last several months, and in some cases with the council districts over the last year or two. The item before you is just a recommendation to make an amendment to an existing contract with DWP that was established back in 1999. The idea behind this is to allow the Department of Public Works to have access to recycled water for tree planting and watering needs, to establish and maintain city trees in the public right-of-way. As mentioned by our council district office, the city has, or the Department of Public Works has 13 different various sites, what we refer to as the purple lines. These 13 sites would allow us to tap into this recycled water instead of using potable water at a very low cost. The Department of Water and Power's commodity charge is anywhere between 65 to about 78 cents, on average about 65 cents per a 300-gallon truck. This is not per gallon, this is for a 300-gallon truck. So less than $1 to fill a one truck, or 300-gallon truck. We estimate that we have about 30 trucks across the entire city. Not all trucks will be able to connect to these purple lines because of logistics and locations. However, even if we connect 15 of those, this is still a fast forward and a good direction that we should take. Again, the item is a very low-cost option for us. The cost impact would be offsetted by the current cost that we reimburse the nonprofit organizations for using potable water. There is one additional cost that we will try to minimize or at least defray the cost, and that is the retrofitting of the trucks. So every truck that gets connected to the purple line, we do have to do some fine finessing. In some cases, it's only a couple, $50, maybe $100 retrofit, on average about $200 per truck. So the idea before you, or the concept before you, is relatively cost neutral. Therefore, the recommendation is to make the amendment to the existing contract number WR981003, and it is referenced in the agenda as transmittal 2. It should be transmittal 3.
Okay, Mr. Campos, thank you also for your work on this. Commissioner Repenning?
Sure. First of all, I just want to thank you, Christine, and Councilmember O'Farrell for everything you guys are doing around sustainability and community beautification. You're great to work with, and this was something that you cared about, you wanted to see happen. And so I really want to thank our team, Fernando, for really figuring out what was needed, Ted for looking at the contract and giving it the legal review, and Paul Roch for your work is not quite done yet because we've got to work with the contractors and actually get them trained on where the locations are and help them figure out what they're going to need to do to retrofit their trucks so that we're maximizing this opportunity. But I think it's just a great kind of win-win that really is going to save a not insignificant amount of water, which is an important goal that we all have. So thanks again to the team for doing this, and we still have to go to the DWP board. They don't meet as frequently as we do, so hopefully within the next 3 months that'll get done, and we'll be on our way to saving water.
Great, thank you for the collaborative effort. Is that a motion, Commissioner Penning? I'll second it, along with Commissioner Rodriguez. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issue sending number 3 forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Thank you, Ms. Peters. Thank you, Mr. Campos. Colleagues, I was toying back and forth on whether to do this at the beginning of the meeting, at the end of the meeting. I decided at the beginning of the meeting because we were recognizing folks. I would do it at the end of the meeting, but then I'm sitting here noticing that by the end of the meeting, we lose people during the meeting. So I'm going to do it right now, and that is to just to thank Russ Strazella. Today is his last Board of Public Works meeting in his official capacity, sitting as the Bureau of Contract Administration representative. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this or not, or maybe I'm violating a Russ rule, but Russ was recognized at council, and there was a nice open house for him yesterday at the BCA headquarters. And Russ, your years here at the city have been marked by just terrific service. And so I wanted to say it before some of your colleagues left as their issues were called up, and just let you know that we really, really appreciate all the work that you did for the Department of Public Works and for the Bureau of Contract Administration. Just a delight to work with you. So thank you. If anybody else wants to say anything now while we've got folks, I did put it on the table. So Commissioner Rodriguez.
Thank you, Commissioner James, and I'm glad you actually took the liberty of doing that, because Russ, you deserve your moment to really be formally recognized by this board. And I was so disappointed that I wasn't able to make yesterday. But when we talk about the people that can do, you're one of them. The people that just finds a way and isn't obstinate, but finds a way around it so that we can help actually deliver on the things that we need to in this city. And I just want to thank you for your commitment to doing that, to being the very best in your particular area of service, in your expertise, but more importantly, just your willingness to always jump in and be helpful and to problem solve. That's what we need more of here, and I think you've been one of the best examples of that. And so I'm just, we're sad to see you go, but really, this is a moment that you've earned. And I just, I think, we have so many wonderful examples of great city employees, and I think you're one of them. And I just want to say that, contract administration has a number of really talented individuals, but I think you are really a great representation of that bureau. And we're going to miss you and wish you the very best of health and retirement, and enjoy every minute of that retirement. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, Russ, I would like to congratulate you, too, in making it to retirement. And I want to say that we consider you the dean of contract administration. And in many ways, when we say we inspect what we expect, you represent all of that is good about contract administration. It's been an honor to meet with you and to go over the many issues and challenges we have, from prime contractors to others. And I know that in your retirement, there's many more things that you'll get an opportunity to do. And they always say in retirement, you're even busier than you were when you were working. So we wish you the very best, and we are much better as a result of your service. And I hope that you have trained someone to be able to at least touch the hem of your garment in some of this inspection and compliance stuff that we have to do. Thank you, and congratulations.
Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Russ, thank you for your wonderful service to our city. You know, getting to know you in this short time, but having you support and reach out to support our efforts at the board, and really not cruising through your last period, but pushing through and making sure that the mission of the Bureau and of our city of taking care of the public right away is there till the very end, sir, is a shining example of you and your life. So mabuhay to you, sir, as you head over to Georgia, wherever you're going, and live long and prosper, my friend. Thank you.
Commissioner Penning.
I just want to also echo my colleagues in wishing you all the best. Thank you for everything you've given to the city and the many years you've given us. And I know you're committed to this city as an institution. So we're going to miss you. What are you going to do with your retirement?
We're going to be moving to Savannah, Georgia, where my son and his wife and in about a week, 2 grandbabies are. So,
So you're going to be busy changing diapers.
I'm going to be busy watching, ma'am. But I've been just truly blown away the last week with all the attention and all the kind words. And very briefly, I just want everybody to know how much of a privilege it's been. There's not been a day that I've been here that I felt like I didn't. I should appreciate it. I guess I should appreciate it always, and I always have. And anything that I've been able to do, to play a small part in what you do, has been an honor. So thank you very much for your kind thoughts. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Russ Trezella. Thank you, everyone. Agenda item number 1 from the Bureau of Engineering, Council Districts 1 and 13, recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue a revision of the task for solicitation number EMGD 015 to ICF Jones and Stokes Incorporated, increasing the budget authority from $90,000 to $219,270.94. This is for the environmental documentation services that are in connection with the Taylor Yard Bikeway Pedestrian Bridge over the Los Angeles River project. Mr. Spindler on number 1. I'm sorry, Mr. Ticket on number 1. You identified yourself as Mr. Ticket. Mr. Spindler.
It's Mr. Ticket.
There you go, sir.
Yeah, so some of us here on this board.
He has completely.
Some of us here like to attend lynch mobs.
Of free speech. We have some pictures which you can see. This is Mr. Spindler in his truest form. This is Mr. Spindler when he's hiding behind the mantle, if you can believe it, of free speech. How in the world can you allow someone to use a hood that defames?
Mr. Spindler, we
Yeah,
have time
well,
for general public
one of
comment.
your-
This is number 1.
Well, that's one of your commissioners in the back there,
The Bureau
attending
of
the lynch mob.
The Bureau of Engineering.
One of your commissioners likes to attend lynch mobs against public speakers.
Mr. President, he's not speaking about the item.
Likes to attend public speaking items
Mr.
so
Spindler,
that people can't come here and talk.
You're welcome to
You
talk
should
about it.
recuse this member from this meeting because this man engages in
You're
domestic
welcome to talk
terrorism
about-
and violation of constitutional rights.
You're welcome to
I'm
talk
bringing
about
this up
agenda.
as a legal matter.
You're welcome to talk about agenda item number 1.
Yes. He should not be voting on increasing these budgets so high. Look at that.
You're still not on number 1, Mr. Spindler.
Is number 1 about environmental documentation services?
Yes.
It's a budget?
Yes. Let's go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So he can pedal his bike to another lynch mob against another public speaker. Why do you need to raise it that high? You budgeted at 90 and you're up to 219. Why? Because nobody's running this place. It's running itself. A machine, it's running itself. None of you know what the hell your department's doing. It's too big and it's failing.
2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Mundy. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Norman Mundy, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Management Group. As the Commissioner mentioned, we are requesting authority to increase the budget amount for this task from $90,000 to just over $219,000. The project is the Taylor Yard Bikeway Pedestrian Bridge that would be constructed across the Los Angeles River from Elysian Valley on the west to the Taylor Yard area, which is part of Glassell Park on the east. The project requires environmental documentation under both the California Environmental Quality Act and the National Environmental Policy Act. We're requesting the task be awarded to ICF Jones and Stokes, who would prepare these two documents. Due to funding constraints, we wanted to get the consultant started on this process, and therefore we issued an initial notice to proceed for $90,000. And now we're returning to the board to ask authority to increase that amount to the full $219,000 for preparation of these documents. Due to funding constraints, we have to complete these by the end of the year, and we felt that getting the project started earlier was essential to completing that by the end of the year deadline, and we're on track to do that now at this point. I should mention, just to continue the theme of recycled water, that the bridge will carry 2 recycled water pipes, DWP pipes, so it fits in with that whole program we've been discussing earlier. And then one other thing I should mention, since we briefed Commissioner Jacinto on this issue, the consultant ICF Jones and Stokes did some outreach, and they were able to identify a minority business enterprise firm that could work on this contract. And as a result of that, there's been a revision to the board report in which the MBE amount for the task will now increase from 6.65% to 9.66%. So we did make some progress in that respect.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mundy. I would also, if my recollection is accurate from the board report, the 2 out of the 3 on calls did respond with a proposal. Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay, so it was 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3,
all
right.
Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Norman, thank you for the report. Just wanted to state for the record that the initial scope of work of the CEQA was really intended at the beginning. The funding issue sort of made us do this in stages with the initial task, but the original scope of work is as it remains, and this is not an increase of scope of work or the intent.
That's correct. The scope of work has not changed, and we did identify the full scope of work at the beginning of the process, so there is no change to that.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I just want to thank you in terms of making sure that inclusion and minority business enterprises were intricately involved in what we're doing. I think that, again, we want to make sure, as the mayor says in his Back to Basics, that we provide jobs for Los Angeles throughout all of Los Angeles. And I think through this measure of doing this, this is a fine example of what we want to continue to do to make sure that various areas of Los Angeles can be included in the economic opportunities that Public Works can present to the citizens. So thank you for your work.
You're welcome.
Anything further? Is there a motion on number 1 by Commissioner Jacinto? Is that a second, Commissioner Davis? Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Mundy. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 2, Bureau of Sanitation, recommending that the board approve and forward to the mayor and the city council with the recommendation of the city council, subject to the concurrence of the mayor, and authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to accept $400,000 in grant funds from the Mobile Source Air Pollution Reduction Review Committee's 2013-14 edition of the Local Government Match Program, to conduct all negotiations, to provide additional information, and to execute and submit all documents, including but not limited to agreements and amendments, subject to the approval of the city attorney as to form and legality, which may be necessary to secure funding with respect to the purchase of 14 new natural gas heavy-duty solid resources collection vehicles, and execute and submit the Mobile Source Air Pollution Reduction Review Committee's contract number ML14013. And number 2, request the City Council to adopt the resolution approving the acceptance of grant funding in the amount of $400,000 and appointing the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to conduct all negotiations and to execute and submit all documents necessary to accept and expend the grant funding for the purchase of 14 new heavy-duty natural gas-powered SRCVs in connection with the Bureau of Sanitation's Clean Fuel Program for Solid Resources Collection Vehicles. And Mr. Spindler, on a card that says Mr. Ticket, as he has identified himself, has a card on number 2.
So after Aliso Canyon, you want to deal with natural gas-powered vehicles? You guys, it's an insult and a slap to the people who have been toxified by that landfill. We don't want to deal with anything with natural gas. We don't want that field up in Aliso Canyon. You want it closed. And you guys want to power vehicles with natural gas after all of this? That's $28,000 a truck. You're going to buy these trucks for $28,000 a piece? Why in the world would you accept this grant at this time? When you're up in the valley, gassing Jewish and white people and their children and their pets with gas. And you want to reward the gas company through third-party contracts so you could sell their gas to your vehicles and use federal and state funds for that? I swear to God, I'm telling you, I think if Hitler were standing here right now, you'd be giving him a bid for Auschwitz for gas. They gas these people. And you want to put natural gas on the streets of Los Angeles with these killers running these killer projects? I want this voted down right now. No, you don't want this. This is politically stupid. It's economically stupid. You're not going to buy these trucks for $28,000 a piece. Will you start representing the people and doing your jobs and stop with this crap? Show this to Senator Feinstein. Ask her if you want to power these things with natural gas. She'll tell you about it. No. Hell no.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Tran.
Good morning, Mr. President of the Board Commissioners, Executive Officers, City Attorney, and Bureau Representatives. My name is Kim Tran. I'm Assistant Manager with the Solid Resource Support Services Division with LA Sanitation or Bureau of Sanitation. In 2000, LA Sanitation began to replace a diesel-powered solid resource collection vehicles with clean-burning natural gas vehicles. Today, we have successfully placed in service over 540 natural gas powered collection vehicles, and 76% of our collection vehicles are now operated on clean fuel. While continue on our path toward a conversion of collection vehicles to clean fuel, LA Sanitation also actively seeking external funding opportunities to support implementation of our clean fuel program. LA Sanitation has successfully secured over $28 million in total from various grant funding sources to support our clean fuel program. Recently, LA Sanitation has been selected to receive a grant award from the Mobile Source Air Pollution Reduction Review Committee, also known as MSRC. This award, in the total of $400,000, will be used to offset the incremental cost to purchase 14 new natural gas collection vehicles. We are here today requesting authority to accept a grant contract and to execute a grant contract and to accept $400,000 of grant funding from MSRC in support of a sanitation clean fuel program for solid resource collection vehicles. We thank you for your consideration and happy to answer any question that you may have.
Thank you. Commissioner Penning?
Thank you, Kim. I just want to point out that this is a really important thing that we're doing at the city in terms of our impact on the environment and on air quality in terms of, moving over to clean fuel with our sanitation fleet. So I just want to thank you for your work on this. I want to thank you guys for being so aggressive in pursuing grant opportunities like this one, and just want to give you my gratitude and want to support this initiative.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis.
I just wanted to, certainly clean fuel policy is critical for every level of government. And what I wanted to find out generally, in terms of the different measures of clean fuel, gas is one. Are there other technologies of clean fuel that are?
Yes, the bureaus embrace different technologies. In 2000, shortly after the City Council adopted the clean fuel policy, the only technology available at that time was, having our trucks, instead of operating on the diesel, we could have our trucks converted or buy new trucks to run on clean burning natural gas. At that time, LNG was the only option, liquefied natural gas. In fact, only dual fuel running on a combination of 85% of LNG and 15% of diesel, on the low sulfur diesel. Since then, technology advanced to the point that now we could run 100% on either LNGs or compressed natural gas, CNGs. Recently, we have recognized that technology as for electrification of our collection vehicles advanced to the point that we could, utilize the technology if it's feasible. And therefore, the bureaus now is actively seeking, opportunity to do a pilot study, at least for 1 year, on electrification of our trash truck by having, a couple of vendors come provide us with the opportunity to test out these electric vehicles and see if it's feasible. Then we could, consider that as one of our options.
Gotcha. So, I definitely understand that during the time in which we pursued moving forward with clean fuel, natural gas was the measure that was available, and I would suspect, is it more cost efficient as well as environmentally prudent? Is that?
Yes, sir.
So natural gas is definitely much cheaper than perhaps the diesels were.
Yes, the usage of natural gas provides multiple benefits besides environmental benefits. For example, in terms of cost, now the natural gas is much cheaper than the diesel counterpart. In addition, the city has benefited from the federal excise tax credit. For every gallon of LNG we use, we receive 50 cents back from the federal government as an excise tax credit. For example, last year we used over 5 million gallons of LNGs to fuel our collection vehicles. In return, we got over $2.5 million from the federal excise tax credit, and that's go directly into supporting our program.
Great. And moving forward, as is in technology as well, we are not close to what new opportunities confront us in terms of clean fuel options going forward. Of course, you've mentioned electricity and electrical cars and electrical vehicles being among those that you will explore in terms of moving forward in the future. Is that pretty accurate?
Yes, our stand is fuel neutral as long as technology allows us to gain, environmental benefits as well. Like we take all those, issue into consideration, and more importantly, it will meet our operational requirements.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate the fact that we are moving forward and keeping up with our environmental responsibility on behalf of the city. So thank you for the work that you're doing, and I realize that you started this particular pursuit during the time that Mayor Villaraigosa was in. I think was when you started the pursuit of this gas clean fuel project here. So I think that it's good that we're moving forward, and I think it's even better that in the future we have other technologies to look to as possible usage for the Bureau.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Rodriguez?
Thank you. Obviously, these are evolving technologies. There's always improvements that are happening, and so it really is great to see the Bureau continually looking for opportunities to try and stay ahead of the time so that we can really help make sure that we're meeting all of our obligations and making sure that we are reducing our environmental impacts when it comes to a lot of the fleets that we have in our city fleets. My question is about the natural gas and its capacity and its power. in terms of what is the scale of the fleet that we're talking about in terms of the vehicles that are going to be deployed? And I
Number
only
of
asked,
vehicles?
yes, because I asked because
We have over like 540 units. Our fleet is, for heavy duty, we have about 700 vehicles. So right now, about more than 75% of our fleet is on clean fuel.
So what, but my question is in terms of the use, this particular fleet, what usage is it for? Is it for collection?
It's for collection,
It
yeah.
is for
Refuse,
collection.
for the three commodities, black, blue, and green for residential curbside collection. These
Okay.
are the vehicles that we use for.
Because because I recall Bureau of Street Lighting had some concerns about its capacity to go up on hillsides sometimes if it didn't have the power. And so I'm guessing that this might be in the flat sides
Yes,
of our city as opposed to our hillsides. But just some of the thoughts, just because I realized that we had some of those issues with our fleet for street lighting.
Yeah, Commissioner, regarding the ability to have enough power to sustain our daily operation, prior to implementing the program, we conduct a pilot study with only 10 trucks, back in 2000, and that was with dual fuel with the same horsepower and torque, and we took the vehicle up to what we call the cargo hill and did a testing on that to make sure that the vehicles were able to go up the hill and stay there without falling back. So we did our due diligence before we move on. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez. Anything else on agenda item number 2? Is there a motion on number 2 by Commissioner Rodriguez, seconded by Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Before we go to agenda item, thank you, Mr. Tran. Before we go to agenda item number 4, it looks like we have some students and young adults that have joined us. Are you from one of the local schools, or is there a nonprofit or government group? Hi. Just to find out who we have with us, and then we'll talk a little bit about the board. Go ahead.
Yes, so my name is Ria Trillanes, and I'm from the organization called LA Promise Fund, previously LA Fund, and we merged recently with LA's Promise. We have a partnership here with the mayor's office, and so what we do with this program particularly is called the Intern Project, and we recruit really deserving and really energetic high school students, and we place them into dynamic businesses. So we have students from SpaceX, Kaiser Permanente, Bad Robot, Full Screen, and we're so excited to have them here and see you guys in action. And the whole point of us being here is to expose them to different career paths and also just see what the city hall is like. And so thank you so much for having us here.
Excellent.
We have a panel later this afternoon also.
Great. Well, thank you, and thank you for letting us know, and welcome everyone. You've caught us in the middle of the summer, so the City Council is on their summer recess, but we're in obviously in full session today. The Board of Public Works is the 5-member full-time commission that's appointed by the Mayor of Los Angeles and then confirmed by the City Council. We oversee the entire Department of Public Works, which is the 3rd largest department in the city, just over 5,000 employees. And the department's made up of 5 independent bureaus that work together as a department, and those 5 bureaus are the Bureau of Contract Administration, the Bureau of Sanitation, which is the bureau that we were just having the last discussion with about clean fuel for some of our collection trucks. The Bureau of Street Lighting, you heard the Bureau of Street Lighting referenced in that discussion as well. The Bureau of Street Services, which deals with our sidewalks and our streets and our street trees, as well as the Bureau of Engineering, which oversees the engineering and design of many public works projects throughout the city of Los Angeles. Really, in many ways, the Department of Public Works is what you would think of as the city's infrastructure department. The other representatives that you see with us at the table, in addition to the full 5-member commission, is our executive officer, our representative from the city attorney's office, and then representatives from each of the bureaus that I just mentioned. In addition to the 5 bureaus, we also have the Office of Community Beautification that is very well known around the city for graffiti removal and community and neighborhood cleanups. And the next agenda item that we're going to cover relates to street services and engineering and the Office of Community Beautification. So, and we sit every Monday, Wednesday. These are full-time positions, so we're here every day, 5 days a week, and spend a lot of time out in the communities as well. But we meet here in a public hearing every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. Just like the City Council, members of the public at times will come in and speak on items. Some of them speak on a couple of items that interest them. Some of them speak on every item that's on the agenda. So with that, if my colleagues have anything that they want to add. Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yeah. Well, welcome to your City Hall. I am going to have the distinct pleasure of being part of the panel later this afternoon with you all, and so I'm happy to see you all here. My tenure at City Hall actually began, and I got engaged and inspired back because of the Los Angeles riots. And shortly thereafter, while attending college, I became an intern working for a city council office, and it was there that, there's windy roads to get to wherever you want to go, but I have the tremendous privilege of serving on this board and sitting as a member of this commission and helping to be a representative for my community in this capacity, as well as all the residents of the city. And so, I'm just delighted to see that you all have an interest in being here and understanding what government does and how you can play a role in it, whether directly or indirectly, to help make a difference in our community. So I look forward to being with you all later this afternoon and speaking to you more about what we do here at City Hall.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez. Commissioner Davis?
Welcome here to the Board of Public Works, and one of the things that I think is important in terms of not only understanding that we help to manage the infrastructure of Los Angeles, but we also are responsible for creating economic opportunities for various communities in the city of Los Angeles. I help to work with the Bureau, which is one of the 5 of contract administration. And one of the things we care very much about is to make sure that we have inclusion of various small and emerging businesses, minority businesses, so that they get an opportunity to benefit from the tax dollars that are generated by the construction projects that we build throughout your city, so that we are just not a government that hires you to work as an employee on one hand, but on the other hand, we help create and implement economic opportunities where, in fact, when we hire women businesses, when we hire minority businesses, they in turn can go out to your community and hire you as well. So we are a very important department in the city of Los Angeles, and I embrace and enjoy most what it is that we can do to create those economic opportunities for you and your neighbors. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Repenning?
Sure. I just wanted to say thank you for coming to City Hall. It's always really good to see young people in the building, because you, at the end of the day, are what we are working towards. We're trying to make the city a better place so that, our young people and the people who come behind us have an opportunity. And that's what this city's been about. It's been a place where people come with their dreams and they work hard to try to make it better for the next generation. And so I'm glad that you're here. I want to just, if any of you are interested in getting involved in government and getting involved in your neighborhoods and your communities, I highly encourage it. It really does make a difference. There aren't that many people who get involved, so when people come into the process, it actually really matters. I encourage you all to vote when you turn 18. It really does matter. And if any of you might be thinking in some part of your minds about one day going into public service, either working in government or running for office, I highly encourage you to do it, because it really is a great way to make an impact in your community, to really do some good in the world. And so hopefully you'll have a chance to see in your time here today kind of what some of the things we're working on are. But I just want to really appreciate your presence and wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Commissioner Penning and Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you, President James. Young people, good morning. Great to see you here. Welcome. This is a great opportunity to have for an internship program, and having worked in the nonprofit for many years as in historic Filipino town for a community-based nonprofit, that's how I got here, is serving and taking the advantage of community service and of meeting people and working and interfacing with politicians and administrators. So I think my message to you is you never know. You have a great opportunity now in your life. So we're hoping that you're going to seize this opportunity, that everybody that you meet, you're going to get their cards, you're going to introduce yourself, you're going to make yourself rememberable, so that in 10 years or 15 years, we're going to see you in one of these seats, in a city office or in a nonprofit. And I want to ask you to think about serving in the nonprofit sector, which is an incredibly important part of our society, because we work with our communities that sometimes government can't serve. So be involved, keep involved, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. So we'll go on to our next agenda item. Agenda item number 4, from the Board of Public Works. First, to approve the proposed expedited Adopt a Median fast track application review plan and permit process for street median improvement, design work that meet the criterion, the expedited process parameters, and including a pre-approved design elements and descriptions set forth in the attached report. Number 2, authorize the Bureaus of Engineering and Street Services and the Office of Community Beautification to modify its internal processes, including updating the Adopt a Median application packet to effectuate the intent of the proposed expedited Adopt a Median fast-track application review, plan, and permit process. 3, authorize the Board of Public Works Executive Officer, or in his absence, the Director of the Office of Community Beautification, to review and approve the Adopt a Median future proposed applications that meet the criterion through the expedited process parameters, including pre-approved design elements and descriptions as set forth in the report. And 4, instruct the Director of the Office of Community Beautification to continue to accept, review, and process, including obtaining permit approval through the standard, regular, non-expedited process for those future proposed Adopt a Median applications that do not meet the proposed expedited process parameters set forth in the report. Mr. Campos, why don't you lay the groundwork for agenda item number 4 before we take the speaker card?
Absolutely. Good morning, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. First of all, I am pleased again to be speaking before the board and recommending this item before you. As you witnessed this morning in testimony to Commissioner Davis's nomination, and also through the leadership of Commissioner Rodriguez, we are at this point where we're finalizing and culminating this 1-year experience. Over the last year, we've been testing the street median design and looking at the process to explore ways that we can streamline, automate, and fast track the process. And this is what the item is before you. So it was not a individual person who did this. It was a team effort. It was not only intra-departmental, but it was interdisciplinary as well. We had members from the Bureau of Street Services. We had members from Bureau of Engineering. We had the Office of Community Beautification, along with the executive leadership of the Board of Public Works, and also our contract administration folks there contributing to this. So I'm not only pleased to report this item before you, but presenting this item, asking for your approval and consideration to fast-track the Adopt a Median application. So the concept was baked back in March of 2015 through the proposal that Commissioner Rodriguez did to the Innovation and Performance Commission to fund the street median design competition. And basically the concept was to create a pilot and also a competition among students, landscape architect students, to develop a toolkit of parts, if you will, to expedite the renovation and improvements of our city street medians. In May 2015, the Innovation and Performance Commission did recommend the approval, and City Council adopted it in July 2015. We have worked with 5 different council districts across the entire city. Again, this is a collaborative effort, not only interdepartmental, but also with our council offices. And we explored different we identified different street medians and I narrowed them down to about 5 medians. And this was a very difficult task because we had over hundreds of medians that we needed to improve, but we only had a very small pocket of money. Again, this is a pilot program. We expanded and we stretched our dollar so that we can improve these medians across these 5 different districts. I am pleased to report that 2 of the 5 are already underway. In fact, one of them has already been piloted and has been initiated and implemented. In October 2015, the design was released to students across the universities, 13 universities in not only Southern California, but also the entire state of California. We did receive some response back from UCLA and also a student from Mount SAC Community College in Southern California. And therefore, we did include those 4 proposed sketches into the board report. So the whole concept before you is really to look at ways that we can expedite this application process. The process right now currently takes anywhere from 6 to 9 months, and which is way too long. When we have a community group that wants to improve their medians, we want to make sure that we're providing that application review, permit, process as soon as possible. The item before you is to not only streamline it, but to reduce that time down to about 1 month to 90 days or 3 months. So the 8 steps right now take us about 69 months. The biggest areas in which we have experienced the delays is the pre-planned design review, and this is basically step number 2 in the process, where we look at the designs that are being submitted by our community members that want to redevelop or improve these street mediums, and we give them feedback in terms of what is allowed, what is not allowed. The second area that we notice a bottleneck in this process is the board approval process. For staff to develop a board report and to come before your board would take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. The item before you is requesting that you delegate that authority down to the executive level, to the executive officer, or in my absence, to the director of office community beautification, so that we can approve these adopt the median applications that fit these expedited pre-approved elements. And if they do fit this criterion or this parameters, then we can go ahead and approve that within a matter of 1 week as opposed to a matter of 4 weeks. So that in itself will help expedite the process. The last area that we identified that was taking us quite a bit of time is the permit process. And again, through the work of our Bureau of Engineering, Ted Allen, are you still here? He actually created this nice flow chart using Visio and showed us this is the regular way in terms of the current process, the as-is flow. And here's the way that we can look at to expedite the process, and that's what we call the expedited flow chart, and that is in page 6 of your report. So the action before you not only establishes the fast track process, but also provides a template for community members to garner council district support in their areas. It also provides a template for design. So we provided 4 different designs that were pre-approved and vetted by a group of about 12 different folks. Again, these are the folks that were recognized this morning. We met over a 9-month period on a biweekly basis, and therefore their work is inclusive of what's before you today and their hard work. In addition to that, we had the Bureau of Street Services provide a list of pre-approved list of designs and elements that are attached to transmittal number 4. Folks that, or community groups that want to submit an application for Adopt a Median, if they follow those pre-approved lists, then that would not only help expedite the process for the permit review process, but it'll also help us review the designs a lot faster. Last but not least, this provides the report before you recommends to delegate the authority down to the executive officer again to move forward with the applications for the Adopt the Medians. Just to give you an idea as to how many applications we receive per year, on average over the last 4 years or so, we've been receiving about 6 to 7 applications, so half a dozen. However, this last fiscal year, 15-16, we experienced an increase, and that is not only because we're promoting the idea of fixing our streets, but also the drought. So folks want to improve these medians, and we have received about 13 applications, so we doubled the number of applications that are coming before us. With this expedited approved process, we hope that that 13 will grow into 26, but we also want to make sure that we're responding to our community and our constituents in a timely manner, i.e. within 30 days, no more than 90 days. So therefore, the item before you is to adopt the proposed expedited median process, the concept, also instructing or authorizing our bureaus to make any modifications to its internal processes or any of its documents that it has, that it gives out to the community members, so that we can move these items as quickly as possible and approve them as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Any questions of Mr. Campos at this time? Any questions of Mr. Campos? Thank you, Mr. Campos, again this morning for your work on this. I greatly appreciate it. We look forward to the improved results. Commissioner Rodriguez?
I just want to again thank you, Fernando, for very succinctly capturing all of the elements that this provides. Really, at the end of the day, what we're talking about is this is another opportunity and another vehicle that we have through the Office of Community Beautification to be working in conjunction and in concert and in collaboration with our communities. They have taken an active interest in identifying how they can be a part of the solution, and we, rather than having a process that is so cumbersome that it discourages their participation, this process now will make it much easier for them to not only select the types of elements they want to incorporate into their community medians, but more importantly, create an expedited process that they can get started on the work rather quickly and not get discouraged by a lengthy process that then doesn't allow the community to see the results. So I want to thank everyone again for their work on this, and again the Innovation Fund for funding this. The pilot that we implemented in Council District 10 I think was really a wonderful success, and it's in a community that has very much been advocating for the improvements, and so I think this is a start of a really great collaboration with our communities using this vehicle for it. So thank you all again for your work.
Thank you. So, Commissioner Davis.
I wanted to ask, how might neighborhood associations apply to be included for the possibilities of the median program?
So currently, Commissioner, we do have a link on our website that any neighborhood council or any neighborhood community group or any neighborhood associations can actually click on. It's listed on page number 3 of your report. So any community member or association that would like to get a copy of that application, it'll be linked on our website, also on the Department of Public Works website as well. The item before you includes that packet. We will modify that packet so that any future proposal or future application, if you will, if it has and meets the criterion before you, we would be able to move that through the fast track process. Any item that does not have, or any application that does not meet the fast track parameters, if you will, they will go through the regular process, which is that 6 to 9 month process.
The application can be obtained on the website, on the Public Works website.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Any more questions for Mr. Campos? I don't have any questions for you, Mr. Campos, at this time. We have a speaker card on this item. Mr. Ticket, listed on a card identified by Mr. Spindler. You're up, sir.
Yeah, so you filibustered so our little friends couldn't listen to my public comment. Nice touch. See, all your little third world tricks. But you need good medians. So you can hold these press conferences. So you can hold press conferences in your nice, clean mediums to go after your political enemies. You got to have nice medians, but are you going to go down to the poor areas? You're going to go down to the ghetto? No, you're going to go to the rich, greasy white areas and put all this shit into there. And that's a shame, is because you didn't want the people here to hear about some of this stuff, like the $138,000 each of you makes. They didn't want to hear about that. And they didn't want to hear about how the chair used to be one of us, one of the good guys on the radio 5 days a week. He didn't want to hear about that. So you got to clear the room. You're so ashamed of yourself, of what you've become, that you cannot allow people to hear the truth. Outside, people are screaming for Riddell Jones and why she was murdered. Murdered. And the police commission, with a bare 3 people, affirmed the murder as within department policy. Look at all the cops across the street. Look at all the cops. I came here, when I started coming here, there was 1 cop in the front. Then you have to have an army, because you become so corrupt. So go ahead with your medians. You need your medians. You need your clean spots. Continue with your activities. continue violating Brandenburg versus Ohio, and continue to kill more minorities because they happen to be in a redevelopment zone. Because that's all you're doing is redeveloping, killing and pushing out people because their skin is not pearly white.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Anything further on agenda item number 4? Is there a motion on number 4? Commissioner Rodriguez, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any issues sending number 4 forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Campos. Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez. Agenda item number 5. Specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Council District 1 for Los Angeles Neighborhood Initiative, Lanny's Highland Park improvements along Figueroa between Avenue 50 and Avenue 60. This is a rebid. Estimate $143,178. Bid receipt date Wednesday, August 17, 2016. Council District 6, Los Angeles Fire Department, Van Nuys Fire Station number 39 at 14615 Oxnard Street in Van Nuys, 91411. It is a rebid estimate. The estimate is improperly stated in the agenda. It should be $14,092,100. Bid receipt date Wednesday, August 31, 2016. This is specification submitted for authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Mr. Spindler, I believe you have a card on listed as Mr. Ticket on this agenda item.
I was at the hearings. I listened to this for this fire station. Nobody wants the goddamn fire station on Oxnard Street. Nobody wanted this fire station. You rammed it through. Why? Because the queen of CD6, Nuri Martinez, said she had to have her fire station. And when we finally look at Miss Martinez, are we going to find campaign donations with people tied to this development? Of course we are. There's got to be campaign donations. But the community didn't want this. You build $14 million for a fire station that the community didn't want. They didn't want it. Did you see the meeting at City Hall? All those speakers, one after another, no to the fire station, no to the fire station in Van Nuys, no to the fire station. And you just go ahead and approve it anyway. More of this autocratic ability to just trample on people. Well, the good news is none of the people at that meeting got a TRO against them yet. So that's good. As you just love to use things like TROs. But you see, surprises will be revealed. Yes, so go ahead with your $14 million fraud, and hopefully Nuri Martinez's trial on her 18 charges federally isn't going to already be started by the time they break ground on this. She's got a grand jury against her, you know. They haven't decided yet whether to file.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. On agenda item number 5, any questions? Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 5 as amended? By Commissioner Repenning and Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Any issues sending it forthwith as amended? Without objection, we will do so. Thank you. Agenda item number 6, requested communication. Golden Empire Concrete Products Incorporated, doing business as StructureCast, has transmitted the release of a stop notice. The release of a stop notice in the amount of $15,261 in connection with the South Los Angeles Animal Shelter Care Center, contractor Macone Development. How much time does Mr. Spindler have left on this item?
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Under the 10-minute cumulative rule.
Mr. Spindler?
Piss off.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 6 forthwith? By Commissioner Cento, seconded, and Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Have we cleared the desk with the exception of public comment?
Yes, you have.
Okay. Mr. Spinner listed as Mr. Ticket on your card. You have a general public comment.
So, Van Nuys CD3 and Reseda, June 29th, 8:15 a.m. I get a parking ticket for parking in a sweep zone at 15 after 8. No parking between the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. The problem is the sweeper truck hadn't come for the past 3 weeks. Doot, doot, doot. So I looked on your website for help, and I challenged the ticket, and they affirmed the ticket. But on your website, it does not say that they skipped that route. Your website is supposed to contain that information, and they are not putting it on there. And as a result, now I have to file another appeal on the ticket. Why is your database not telling the truth? Why are you perjuring yourself and committing fraud by issuing fraudulent citations in violation of a policy since 2013 that does not allow them to write this ticket if the sweeping truck does not sweep? But that's what you did to me and my neighbors. Why? So you need to clear this up, because what's going to happen is we're going to contact Joel Grover, and we're going to find out how many times you've been doing this again. You've been writing these sweep tickets again in violation of your policy. It's got to stop. $73. All this bullshit over $73, and they won't dismiss the ticket. They will not dismiss the ticket. I caught them on it. Their answer, piss off, and I have to file an appeal. Why aren't your trucks reporting that they are not sweeping? Why? Maybe they're logging in and clocking in and getting paid for work they're not doing.
2 minutes.
Kevin James.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.